25 State versus Josie Dikeman appearances.
Matthew Tarbinson and Emily Rude appear for the state. Also present at state's council table is Investigative Sergeant Rich Amundsen. Good morning.
Morning, Your Honor. Ms. Dikeman appears in person with her attorneys Chris Zacher and David Bowles. Also present is paralegal Emily Sanchez.
So a couple things. What I was doing right now is I was looking at the emails that were sent last night. They were forwarded to me by Ms. Langer. Just so you know, I realized after we were done yesterday, there was two different instructions we had not put in. One was the falsus new, the other one was hypotheticals. We never put the hypothetical one. It's pretty short. I also knew that there was an issue on the falsus new instruction, knowing that's disfavored. I knew that from the instructions, looking at the history of it. There is a lot of contradictory information that's out there for a lot of different witnesses. If I do have it in there right now. We can discuss it more later. I just put it in there just as a at the end of the witness section. I agree with Mr. Torbenson. Generally, it should be neutral. It should be just general. It shouldn't be specific for the children. I know I said something about the children, but I think what I was thinking is that it would be put in there generally. I'll give you an opportunity to respond to that, Mr. Zacher. I'm just wanted to let you know that's where. So I did put those two in. I know that we've done the verdicts, and we've done the redid the whole verdict section at the very end of the jury instructions. So we have that. But we're not actually done, so we can do one more jury instruction conference to go after the details. Plus, I see the additional information for Mr. Pedrin for 275, and I don't know if that was just a couple minutes ago. I don't know if you had even a chance to look at it, to be honest.
And I also found amended information. Incorporate the language that we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, that. Let me look to see if has been crossed over yet. Maybe it was. Yeah, and I see there's a. What? It's sitting out there. Okay, we'll cross that over. We'll take a look at that. And the state had said that you will have at least maybe 2 witnesses on rebuttal now.
I believe it'll just be one at this point, Your Honor.
Just one? Okay. Any issues other than what I just talked about, which we'll talk about again after your witness is done?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Zacher?
Beyond what we have to discuss on the falsus and nuno and the amended information.
Okay.
I agree that the hypothetical standard instruction.
Yeah, did you have a problem with the hypothetical? We just didn't mention it last night.
It was done a number of times, so I think it's appropriate.
Okay. All right. Having said that, actually, I don't even know if the jury's up. We have a few minutes before they come in.
Not guilty, please, on the new information, Judge.
Yeah, it's crossed over now. Okay, yeah, why don't we do that? Hold on one second. All it did was change the language, correct?
On count 2, it just.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything's a little slow this morning. Do you have a copy of the information, the amended information?
I got an electronic copy by email this morning.
Okay. Ms. Dikeman, in count 2 now, in the amended information, this might be the second amended information. It charges, same charge, chronic neglect of a child, consequence death. that between January 1st, 2021 and February 11th, 23, that the same time, the only difference is that it changed the language to that says did negligently fail to provide necessary care, necessary food, necessary medical care, necessary education compliance under 87 or 118.15 and exposure to drug abuse is defined by 46.973 parent 1 parent D, and then the rest is the same. Do you need me to read more than that?
No, Your Honor, we'll acknowledge receipt of the amended or the Second Amendment information, waive its formal reading. We are specifically objecting, as we did before, to Ms. Dikeman's constitutional right to notice and present a defense. Second subsequent amendment, those objections notwithstanding, Ms. Dikeman will enter a plea of not guilty.
Enter not guilty plea to that amended count. The not guilty is already entered in for count 1 and count 3. Also, the court made a decision allowing the state to amend it as of yesterday. So that does remind me, I did modify those instructions on count 2 with the language for 118.15 and 46.973 parent 1 parent B. I just took, there is actually a jury instruction for 118.15. Then I had to take the statutory language for that 46.973 parent 1 parent B. But we'll get you copies of that. I'll have Christina send what current copy we have. Remember, this is still a rough draft. It's not the final draft, but.
Want to hear my response on falsus in uno now, or do you want to do that?
Sure. Why don't we have a little time. We still don't, if you want to talk about falsus in uno, go ahead.
I absolutely agree with the court and Mr. Robinson that falsus in uno is a disfavored instruction for a number of reasons. I'm in my career, I've ever asked for this, the first time being when I was a law student doing clinicals. I think it's appropriate specifically to at least the one witness to acknowledge that he had been dishonest under oath previously. My problem with making it general is that or at least not carving out an exception for the defendant, is that it impacts the presumption of innocence. If the jury's instructed that they can just disregard her testimony entirely at that point. So if we're giving a general instruction, I would just like a caveat added onto there that this doesn't apply to Ms.
I think that's why it's disfavored, actually,
Yeah.
for exactly that reason. And it's one of those questions yeah, I mean, that's why it's disfavored.
Judge,
Yeah,
my
go ahead.
response is actually that it shouldn't be given at all. There's 2 cases. There's the Wisconsin Supreme Court case, it's State versus Kluge, that is found at 2008 WI 58, and it's discussed at paragraph 71. That case was overturned on other grounds related to another issue, not on that specific issue. And it's State versus Lagar, LAGAR, which is found at 190 West 2nd 423, Wisconsin Court of Appeals decision. Both of those cases discuss at length why the instruction is disfavored, and it's in essence, it's because the credibility instruction tells the jury how they're to weigh credibility with regards to all the witnesses, and certainly a witness giving contradictory information goes to that witness's credibility. My problem with the instruction is a witness can get up and say something that one party may interpret as material, the other party may not interpret as material, and they're going to argue that all of his testimony should be discounted because of that one thing that he said, whereas there may be motives and reasons to explain why he did what he did, and he came in and subsequently corrected that when he testified. So I'm asking the court not to give the instruction. I think the credibility instruction adequately covers all the factors that the jury is to consider with regards to all the witnesses, the defendant, and every single other witness that took the stand in this case.
Your Honor, the problem with that is that we'll be left without a remedy for these that we got into with Brantley in particular. So our request is that it, at the very least, be given specific.
Um,
The only other thing I'd point out is some of the case law where it discusses it, it's where the prosecution asked for it relative to a defendant's testimony. So that's the other reason why it appears as though the prosecution may be able to ask for it relative to the defendant. I am not in this case. I want the general credibility instruction for Ms. Dikeman, and I want that for every other witness as well.
yeah, one thing that it says in the logger is that impeachment of a witness with prior statements does not necessarily mean in clausus in uno instructions appropriate. The testimony must be show a willful and an intentional disregard of the truth. The trial court has the best position to make the call. We see no error in the court's discretion. It's obviously jury instructions are left to the court's discretion, which is part of why they didn't strike it down on that basis. But what I find interesting, the question is, you know, is it a willful and an intentional lie? I think the argument has been that it's been influenced from the defense, correct?
That the testimony was coached and influenced, yes, but I mean, I think all we needed was when he came back on the stand after the break and acknowledged that he had lied under oath. That seems to fit the definition of willful intentional.
Yeah, it's a kid though. I mean, this gets more complicated because it's a kid. I mean, I think that's where it gets. I mean, there are a lot of issues with children testifying, and it becomes very complicated because even getting to the truth and lie, where there was sort of you know, there are hesitations in the original and about if they understood fully what it meant, of course, with the explanations, red, blue, markers, etc. Those are easy things to say yes and no to. Do you understand the consequences? And there was sort of a blank no response to it at different times. I mean, that's all part of closing argument to a degree. I mean, about the reliability of those statements. The question is falsus nunu, is that really appropriate given that situation? We're gonna have one more meeting. Give me a little more time to think about it. But I understand the state's position. I understand what the case law says. I read the other case before. I hadn't read this case. The question really in my mind is, you know, are you getting to a willful, intentional lie, or is this part of this, you know, the theory of the case is the theory of at least the statement by the child is that it was somehow influenced, you know, not to mention the ability to essentially manipulate memories. We know that happens with children. There's famous cases over that. Probably one of the most famous from Minnesota. So it becomes one of these issues of, you know, what's the real intent of the child, or is it the manipulation of the child, or the facet of sometimes for children, it's also not even a manipulation. It's just I mean, it was testified to that Brantley, for example, has a very active imagination. So I'm not sure. I just thought out loud and said it out loud. And so give me a moment to think about it. And
Yeah, sure.
we'll talk again.
Just add one thing on that last part.
Yeah.
So when he came back and took the stand, I think it's important to note that when he went outside, his father was upset with him, not coaching him. Upset because he was denying that there was domestic abuse. Back in and said exactly that he had an encounter with his dad. And so the testimony establishes, he also said he was trying to protect his dad. He thought somehow, I think there was questioning by Attorney Zacher, that he believed that if he said something relative to his dad abusing Miss Dikeman, that may cause his dad to get in trouble. That's not an intent to get Miss Dikeman in trouble. That's an intent to protect his dad, which is very different, at least in my mind. I think that all of that can be argued in credibility. I don't think we need the falsus in uno to address it.
The other issue just generally is I don't want it to create the constitutional issue, which is, as you were saying, the constitutional issue, which is all of a sudden, I know this is why you want the specific, language in it, Mr. Zacher, but the reality is that I'm not sure. So it says, okay, and this one witness, it also would highlight this one witness. I mean, it's not necessarily, that's not necessarily the purpose of it. I've seen attorneys argue the rotten piece of meat in the stew, analogy many times. Do you eat the whole bowl of stew, or do you eat the rest of the stew, or do you throw it all out because one piece is rotten? So
I'm more of a sandwich guy, Judge, but
you're the sandwich guy. Yeah. I think
The
it's a Belzer can one.
yeah, my just correcting the record on the point. I believe what the child came back and testified to was that he was lying about his father drinking, not about the violence.
Okay, so this is I'm going to hold off a little bit. I'll be frank. I'm leaning towards taking it out right now altogether, and just letting you argue it.
Sure.
But let's give it another moment. Plus, we have to work on the language on the 275.
Judge, I just sent our counter proposal on 275, and we can talk about that later.
All
Since
right.
I know no one's had time to review it.
Yeah, let's talk about that later. You sent that to Christina, right?
Yes.
All right, so she'll forward it to me eventually. Let me go see what's going on with the jury. Oh, okay, somebody's running late. Why don't we take about a 5-minute break, and we'll start once they're all here. seated.
Objection.
Okay, so you're, I heard that. All right. Okay. Everybody's back in the courtroom. The jury is all here now. Can we bring the jury in?
Yes.
Before, one thing, I will say to the jury that defense rests, now it's an opportunity for rebuttal, just to explain where we're at, and then I'll have you call your witness. Okay, let's bring the jury in. Everybody may be seated. Morning, everyone. We will, at this point, I think when you left yesterday, we had, the defense had rested. At this point, the state has the opportunity for rebuttal. We had to wait a little bit till this morning. What we'll do is we'll start with the state's rebuttal. If you want to call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Investigative Sergeant Rich Amundson.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
Can I have you state and spell your name again for the record?
Richard Amundson, Amundsen.
And Sergeant, I'm going to hand you another stack of documents, and we'll go through them one by one, okay?
Okay.
Sergeant, do you recall during Ms. Dikeman's testimony yesterday that the bag of pills that we've been discussing in this matter may have been placed on or on top of her clothes hanger?
Yes.
And when you were processing the scene, did you have the opportunity to observe the clothes hanger in her bedroom?
Yes.
If I can have you look at Exhibit 154, Sergeant, can you please identify what we're looking at here?
This is a photo from Miss Dikeman's bedroom showing the clothes hanger rack storage shelf.
And from your review of that photo, is it in the same location as it was when you processed the scene on the 11th of February, 2023?
Yes.
Is it a true and accurate representation in that photo?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 154 and request to publish, please.
Okay.
No objection.
You received? Go ahead. Publish.
Let's switch to my computer, please. Sergeant, can you tell us what we're looking at here?
To orientate yourself, these are the French doors that go into the living room. Miss Dikeman's bed would be right in here. And then in this corner is that clothes rack with hangers here and here.
in an area to store things above it.
Thank you. I'm going to have you look now at Exhibit 155. And before we go through this, do you also recall over the last few days there being testimony about the pictures Ms. Dikeman was taking around 9 p.m. on the evening of February 10th?
Yes,
And was there discussion of whether or not Ms. Dikeman had makeup on in those photos or was using a filter or things along those lines?
yes,
I can have you now look at Exhibit 155. Is this another Cellbrite extraction report from Ms. Dikeman's iPhone extracted on the 13th of February, 2023?
it is.
And is this specific report related to the photos Ms. Dikeman captured between 9 p.m. and approximately 9:30 p.m. on the 10th of February?
Yes,
Given your review of this data, is it a true and accurate reflection of what was on the Cellbrite extraction for Ms. Dikeman's phone?
it is.
And Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 155.
No objection.
Received.
Sergeant, does this extraction report identify that there were 41 files contained in this portion of the extraction?
It does.
And from your review of this report and the data, does it appear that the phone is capturing both the full-size image and also a thumbnail image when we're pulling the information in this report?
It does.
So when we're looking at the overall total of photos actually captured, does it appear that there are about 20 photos of Ms. Dikeman captured in this time period?
That is correct.
If we look at entry number 1 in this report, Sergeant, can you please tell us what the capture time is for that first photo?
February 10th, 2023 at 9:02 and 42 seconds p.m.
And then if we look at number 39 on page 10 of this report, what time does it indicate that that selfie or photo was captured?
February 10th, 2023 at 9:20 and 14 seconds p.m.
And then if I can have the Elmo, please, I'm going to republish Exhibit 254. Sergeant, is this the photo that was testified to as being sent to Mr. Suarez by Ms. Dikeman on the night of the 10th of February?
Yes,
And if we look at entry number 18 on Exhibit 155, does it indicate that the file name related to this image is IMG_0549 period HEIC?
yes.
And what is the capture time of that image?
February 10th, 2023 at 9:16 and 31 seconds p.m.
I can have you now turn to Exhibit 156 in front of you. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes,
Is this one of the selfies captured by Ms. Dikeman during the period of time we're talking about right now?
yes.
And if you can, while we're identifying this, refer to report 150 or Exhibit 155, Sergeant. Does this photo have the file name IMG_0541 period HEIC?
Yes, it does.
And what is the capture time related to that image?
February 10th, 2023 at 9:02 and 42 seconds PM.
And is this information, including the contents of the photo, true and accurate based on your review?
Yes.
Your Honor, I move the admission of 156, not requesting to publish quite yet, though.
No objection.
Be received.
If I can have you then turn to Exhibit 157, Sergeant. What are we looking at here?
This is another selfie that Ms. Dikeman captured on February 10th of 2023. This time she's wearing glasses and makeup.
And if you refer to Exhibit 155, specifically entry 38, does this particular photo have a file name of img0559.heic?
Yes, it does.
And what's the specific capture time related to that photo?
February 10th, 2023 at 9:19 and 12 seconds PM.
And based on your review of the information, is the content of the photo and that creation data we just discussed true and accurate?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd also move for the admission of Exhibit 157, not requesting to publish quite yet.
No objection.
Be received.
Now on to Exhibit 158, Sergeant. Can you please explain to us what you're looking at here?
Exhibit 158 is the two photos I just discussed side by side on the same sheet of paper.
And is the information contained, including the content of the pictures and that file name and capture time, true and accurate based on your review?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move for the admission of Exhibit 158 and request to publish.
No objection.
Be received, publish.
Now switch to the computer, please. Okay, Sergeant. So these are the two photos, 156, which was captured at 9:02 PM, and then 157, which was captured at 9:19 PM, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And what facial features, based on your observation, do you see differently in these two photos?
To start with the one captured at 9:02, you can see how Ms. Dikeman's hair isn't brushed out, more stringy. You'll see that there's no eyeliner between the first photo to the second folder. It appears her skin tone is more leveled out. Then she's also got lip gloss on in the second photo compared to the first photo. You can see here that Ms. Dikeman's hair has been brushed out and is on now the left side of her body compared to more on the right side on the first photo.
And that second photo's capture time is 9:19 PM, correct?
Correct. And the most obvious is obviously she's got glasses on compared to no glasses.
Thank you. And that 9:19 capture time is about 3 minutes different from the capture time of approximately 9:16 that we saw in Exhibit 254, the photo with Ms. Dikeman and Brantley, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
Redirect or recross any or cross, excuse me.
All right. So Sergeant, I want to look at 154 again. My copy of the state's exhibit. It looks like there's a flexible fabric shelf system in that photo. Is that correct?
I'm not sure, but
I have one of these in my closet, so I know what this looks looks like. Let me zoom in on it. Kind of looks like it's kind of hanging and the shelves are sagging a little bit.
Yes,
The only empty shelf on this unit would be the bottom one. I can zoom out if you'd like to see the top.
yes.
Don't see any hangers that were apparently knocked over from taking a bag off of the top there.
No.
Let's talk about the pictures. Sergeant, would you agree with me that everybody takes pictures that they don't necessarily like or say, I'm going to delete this one of myself?
Sure.
And Ms. Dikeman, in some of those earlier pictures, would you say looked a little bit haggard?
Yes.
Like maybe she hadn't been feeling well?
I don't know how she was feeling.
And the photos that she was sending to Mr. Porfirio were the touched up versions. Is that fair to say?
I don't see anything where a filter was used to touch him up. I think her face was touched up.
Yep, that's what I meant.
Oh, okay, yes.
Where presumably if Ms. Dikeman's trying to impress her date, she's going to take the picture where she looks good and send it to him.
I would assume so.
And just looking at some of the photos here, I'm going to bring 158 up to you because I'm not sure the glare really.
He has it in front of him.
Oh, sure. Would you agree with me, Sergeant, that some of the same facial blemishes appear on both photos?
Yes,
In other words, she has a cold sore or something above her lip.
I don't think it's a cold sore. It
Or
looks like a freckle or
Freckle or
something.
something. Same thing on her cheek there. Looks like there's either a freckle or something else.
Yes,
I was not a makeup expert until yesterday, but does it look to you that she applied foundation?
I'm not a makeup expert either.
Okay. And just looking at the earlier photo here, Sergeant, the 156. We can actually see that Ms. Dikeman does appear to have eyeliner on, just maybe not applied as consistently. Can you see that?
I can see her bottom eyelashes, but it doesn't appear that there's any eyeliner on there compared to 157.
Sure. I'll just walk up to you for 156 here. And again, I'm not sure the glare will capture this on the Elmo, but do you see eyeliner or what appears to be eyeliner on the bottom of Ms. Dikeman's eyelids?
I see black individual eyelashes.
I'm gonna try and publish 156. It's bossy, but we'll. And I'm gonna zoom in on her eyes. Can you see the shade underneath? I guess that would be her right eye.
Yes,
You see the shade under portion of what would be her left eye?
I can see what you're pointing out. Yes.
And does it appear that there is, I knew the word for this yesterday, but the makeup that you put on top of your eye lids,
I don't know.
mascara?
I'm going to object to this. I don't think he has a frame of reference for what her eyes look like with or without makeup based on this photo. He,
Yeah, he's saying he doesn't know makeup,
Okay,
so
yeah.
I'll sustain the objection.
It's apparent to you that Ms. Dikeman was trying to make herself look cute to send a picture to Raphael.
asked and answered, Your Honor.
Yeah, sustain.
All questions I have.
All right, any redirect?
Very briefly, Your
This is the Dikeman trial. The question, there's two questions, are really two requests. It's all right. One is, can we watch the first forensic interviews of Major, Brantley, and Araya? And the second one was, can we watch the welfare check body cam videos? Body cam video, I assume, of
Arnine and
Path.
Path,
there's two of them, right?
there are two.
Yeah, we might have to get where they, so first of all, on the issue of length, just so I understand, if I remember right, Major's first interview was, let me go back through my notes. Was that 41 minutes? Sound about right?
Accurate.
And and they're not asking for the second interview, it's just the first interview. And then for Brantley, the first interview, I did not write that down, but I think it was about
30 minutes.
About 30 minutes, yeah. And then if I remember right, Arise is pretty short. It's about 27 minutes or something. So,
20.
right, okay. 20 minutes. And then the videos, the body cam videos, I don't know necessarily how long those were. They were relatively short.
They're short
Sergeant's-
snippets.
Yeah, Sergeant Kearney's was short snippets. The
think-
longer one when he was actually in the home, and then Sergeant Paff's, I think, was 10 to 15 minutes.
My guess is they're talking about the video of Alexavier, of the views of Alexavier, actually. But I really don't know. They just said, I'll read it exactly. Welfare check body cam video. That's all they wrote. We could ask for specific areas. I think the forensic, I think they want to see the whole thing of the forensic interviews. I think the welfare check body cam video, there was a whole bunch of bits and pieces that were shown. We could ask specifically which ones. The other thing is timing. Do they want to do it tonight or do they want to do it tomorrow morning at 8:30? First of all, what's the feeling about them seeing these? The only way they can see it is by coming in the courtroom and watching them again. What's the state's position on it?
I have no objection to them seeing them.
Right. And then the only, other than maybe trying to get a little more detail on the welfare, on the body cam question, the other issue would be to do it tomorrow because obviously that's about it's close to 2 hours worth of video, maybe over 2 hours worth of video. Yeah, that's what I was hoping we would do. Sorry. That's what I was hoping we would do tonight. So this is what I'll tell I have to ask the jury this one question before I bring them back. So why don't you wait here a second? Let's see if we can get a detail on that. I'll come back, then we'll bring the jury in.
Okay.
I'm just may be seated. So, Kevin did just relay this to me. They didn't write it down, but they want to see on the body cam really three things. One is the officer looking through the window. Is that Cernine?
Yes.
Yeah, Officer Cernine looking through the window. And then the two times, I think an officer, I think it was Cernine that went in and looked at Alexavier. So they want to see those three bits. That's all Cernine. So both, everybody's okay with that being seen? All right. So what I'm going to do is bring the jury in, and I'll explain that we will review the forensic interviews. We'll probably do the body cams first and then the forensic interviews, just because I think that's how they came in sequentially. Not sure that matters, but and then we'll do it tomorrow morning. I'll ask them to be here at 8:30, and as soon as we can, we'll start up. Before we, again, just a reminder, we'll have to swear our other bailiff because we're switching bailiffs tomorrow morning, so we'll do that tomorrow morning too. So then, if we can make sure we have those clips figured out.
Yeah, if I will identify which ones they are, Judge. I think it's the easiest if I play them from my computer. I'll guarantee they're the same ones. And then
Right.
I'll save so that we don't have the issues with the buffering and stopping that were happening when I didn't have them saved on a
Hard drive.
Yes, yeah.
And that's fine. Any objection to that?
As long as it's the same clip.
Okay. So, so we'll do that in the morning. I'm going to bring the jury in. We'll tell them, I'll give them the, no, ask him not to talk about it, and we'll see him tomorrow morning. And I'll explain what we're deciding right now. Okay, bring him on. All right. All right, everybody may be seated. I'll just start with this. It's inevitable that everybody keeps on sitting in the same seat no matter what. It's human behavior. Anyway, so we did get your question. We're going to allow you to see these forensic interviews and the clips, which was brought to our attention tomorrow morning, though. So if you can get here at 8:30, we'll start as soon as you're all going to be here. And we'll start with those clips right off the beginning, and then you can go back to deliberation. Now that you're in deliberation, it's become even more important you not talk to anybody, not to say anything. In fact, as you walk out this door, stop thinking about the case. Like that's possible, but try not to think about the case. Reality is you should deliberate together. You shouldn't do anything. I know it's difficult to do that, but we need you to sort of go through this gymnastics of trying to not think about the case and only come together and talk about it. Also, when you get together tomorrow at 8:30, don't talk about the case at all until two reasons. One, you want to see the video. Second one is we also have to swear Terry back in and to become a bailiff in order to have two people here as bailiffs. So have a good evening. Try to relax a little bit. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for your time so much.